This is a good hand to open on the button. I've got some high card value, some connectivity, and I do possess a suit. I've also got a presumed loose player here in the big blind. But if the big blind were to raise to say $7, then I would fold because this hand does pretty poorly against a tight 3-better. I flop a decent draw considering this board. I've got an inside wrap, 9 outs to the nuts. It's a very dry board, and I take down the pot. One game selection tactic is to sit at empty tables and wait for a player to join you. I like to combine waiting for players and going to other tables and searching out fish at the same time to optimize my time. For example, I will open up tables and search the players, and if they're only playing one table and you can search them, then this is a decent indication that they are a losing player. You'll see that this guy here opened with the button in the last hand, and from his stats, maybe he is a losing player. One thing you can do if you have a decent number of hands is check the amount one lost. He's lost $8 over 308 hands. So maybe he's a break even or break even before rake player. But either way, he's not really what I'm going to be looking for in an opponent. So I'm going to leave him labeled as a rake. Here I pick up double suited jacks in the big blind. And I'm going to raise these loose limpers. My hand does fine, either heads up or three-way, or if all 5 of them want to come in. It really doesn't matter. And I want to push my equity edge against these loose limpers. This is an excellent hand to punish them with. And at a position 4-way, I elect to take a cautious route on the flop. My general strategy in 4-handed pots is to bet when I have a strong hand. A 3-bet. Pretty good queens here. Heads up. And I am going to make a continuation bet. Get raised. Pretty dry board. I could beat something like 8-7-6 theoretically. It's the first hand of the match. I think my opponent's a rake. And I'm going to let it go. I pick up a pretty good rundown here versus a button open. And I'm going to 3-bet. Nice to get that pot heads up in position. I didn't really expect that. I'm going to try a bet here. And I'll fold to a raise. I'm going to bet again. I think that, well, that didn't work. And my opponent wins with 7 queen, that's sad. I open a somewhat marginal hand on the button. Take it. Aces in the big blind. And I am going to cold 4-bet here. And I showed some moderate aggression in the last pot. So pretty nice to flop so good after that. And I am going to call here. Kings on the button. I am going to half pot continuation bet. I think over half the time they don't have a 5. And they might be a little reluctant to semi-bluff on this flop. I get called by a pretty loose opponent. And I'm going to bet again under the theory that he would raise me on the flop with a 5. But no, he has a boat. Double suited kings against a very loose raiser and a very loose caller. A lot of value in re-raising here. It's going to be about a 3 SPR situation. And I'm pretty much just going to ship every turn if my opponent calls. Of course, getting 2 to 1, I'll be committed to stack off if he puts me in on the flop. Here I completed in the small blind. And it's a little tempting to complete 3-bet here. This guy raises very liberally. But I'm just going to call. I guess theoretically one of these guys could be flatting with aces. That's not very likely. Of course, bricking this flop I have to give up. I can get about a quarter of my stack in pre. I guess calling is fine too. And at least by playing a pot where there's still some money left to be bet, I let my opponents possibly make some potentially big mistakes on the flop turn and river.